Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1970-73 Carryover League All-Star Game. It's the year 2022. It's the third All-Star Game selection show I've done for the league. We'll just begin. We've got the template of last year's All-Star Game representatives, and I'll just copy this year's representatives on top, starting with the American League. And the first representative of the American League is Merv Retman from the Texas Rangers, who actually, if you recall, Merv Retman was a member of the Baltimore Orioles. And that was a big move for the Rangers to get him, and it really improved the Rangers. And it helped them a couple years ago get into the wild card. The last couple years, not so much. He will take Frank Howard's Texas Ranger spot from last year. Merv Retman leading the American League hitting. Congratulations, Merv. We'll have a composite stat line too when we're all done here. All right, Retman's in. The next player, we'll just go down hitters, then pitchers. The next representative, I guess I should have made this yellow after all. Here we are, I'll make them yellow. Is Rod Carew. Rod Carew from the Minnesota Twins. Of course, we know him to have gone to plenty of All-Star games. And let's see if he went last year. And indeed he did. He hit .415 at the All-Star break, and of course Retman's taking that average spot. Carew had 49 hits at the All-Star break last year. 47 this year with a .364 batting average, so there you go. Rod Carew, congratulations to Rod and the first place Twins with their first representative. The next player going to the All-Star game, yes, it is Dave Cash. Good for him. We know Dave Cash would be a Pittsburgh Pirate. He'd also be a Philly in this decade. The Pirates would have Rennie Stennett playing second base, so they really didn't need him that much. The Ohio Player Expansion Team loves Cash. We'll keep him for quite a bit of time. Ohio Players, let's see. They have him listed as the middleman. And where Luis Aparicio is currently. Aparicio, hint, hint, is going back to the All-Star game. He's going to be starting. So we're going to put him right here for now. Dave Cash, middleman, second baseman. All right. Congratulations, Dave Cash. The next player from the Oakland A's, of course, and your 1973 American League MVP, Reggie Jackson. Of course, he's going to the All-Star game. Leading his Oakland A's. They've, they really shouldn't be admonished. They are 17-12 and in first place with the second best record in the American League, but they've really played down to their competition. Reggie hasn't. He's hitting .348. And did Reggie go last year? No. Gene Tennis went last year. But we'll put him in Gene Tennis' spot because Gene Tennis is not going this year for the Oakland A's. We can move all these guys around when the starting lineups are announced later, but Reggie Jackson, of course, he's going to the All-Star game. All right. 4 guys in, and we've gone straight down the list. Is Johnny Jeter of the Ohio Players going to the All-Star game? No! He's being snubbed. Sorry, Johnny. Too many Ohio players. Think about that for a second. That's an expansion team, fictional. They've got 3 of the top 6 batting averages in the American League, and they have a losing record, so that says a lot there. But Bill Robinson, how about that? How about Bill Robinson's 1973 card with the Phillies? Bill Robinson did most of his damage after he turned 30 years old, later in his career. He got himself a World Series ring with the Pirates in 1979, and he is going to be in the All-Star game. And how about breaking up the Ohio players for having back-to-back players mentioned here? We'll put him into Rusty Staub's spot. Rusty's not going, so we'll put Bill Robinson there. How about that? Okay. Next player on the list, look at that. We talked about him just a few moments ago. It's Luis Aparicio. Back in the All-Star game, and he's been 3 out of the last 4 years. Aparicio has gone to the All-Star game with the White Sox. Just had a lot of great success using his card, which is great. 2 different cards, a 69 card and a 70 card. He's a 2E21 at short, and he hits close to 300 or above both times, and he's hitting well over 300 both times. Luis Aparicio is going to be the starting shortstop, replacing Bobby Grich, who's not going this year. Congratulations, Luis Aparicio. The first of, spoiler alert, 3 White Sox players to go for the American League. The White Sox send more players than any team. All right, Bobby Mercer, that great 71 card is come through again. 3 years in a row with this card. It's in the All-Star game. 3 years with 1 card. That's par excellence there. Bobby Mercer, the center fielder, arguably the best center fielder with that card. And look what he did last year at the break. He was 365, 631 with 46 hits. We'll just pop it in and see what he's doing now. 336, 617, 42 hits. Close. He's got 3 stolen bases. Congratulations, Bobby Mercer, for consistency and being the best player on the Yankees 3 years in a row. All right. Next player on the list. Yep. It's going to hurt the Orioles a little bit here. The Oriole team that we saw was hitting just 238. They traded Frank Robinson away. Kind of like when the Cincinnati Reds traded Frank Robinson to the Orioles. Ouch, in '66. Same kind of thing. They sent them back to Ohio to the Cleveland team, and he's tearing it up. Frank Robinson helping the Cleveland Indians, worst team in the American League a year ago, to be in the playoff hunt. Did Frank go last year? No, he went 2 years ago. We don't have any Cleveland players here. But spoiler alert, we'll have him take Yastrzemski's spot since Yas is not going this year. Sorry about that. Frank Robinson for representing the Cleveland Indians. All right. Next player. This is a fun one. Because of the versatility and the speed of Cesar Tovar, and because California has to send a representative to the All-Star game, Cesar Tovar is going to the All-Star game, folks. Could play the outfield, could play the infield. They'll figure out a spot for him. And he's a good utility player. Let's see, he could take Tommy Harper's spot. They're similar kind of players anyway. Yeah, Cesar Tovar. 10 stolen bases to give the American League some speed. All right. The next player up, Mike Lum gets skipped. Sorry about that, Mike. Which is a real shame because he had a heck of a year. You saw him and he and the Toronto Blue Jays beat up on the Red Sox before the All-Star break, but sadly he's not going. Just not enough production in these columns. But this guy led the Tigers to the best start in the American League. Jim Northrup will make back-to-back appearances in the All-Star game. And there he is last year. Last year he was hitting 331, 616. This year, with a different card, I might add, 324, 721. Jim Northrup, the consistent one, the heartbeat and soul of the Detroit Tigers. How about that? All right. Next player up, not Jesus Alou. No home runs, something like that. This guy gets to the All-Star game, and some people roll their eyes. Look, it's Dick Allen, the 1972 American Most Valuable Player. The numbers are very good. They're not as gaudy as some of the other All-Stars in the league, but it's freaking Dick Allen, And the White Sox are in playoff contention, so you don't ignore a guy who historically was an MVP. You send him to the All-Star game. Now, Dick Allen was in the game 2 years ago. He wasn't in it this year. He could take Alex Johnson's spot. No, you know what? Actually, he's taking Mayberry's spot. He's a starting first baseman this year. Take Mayberry's spot. Mayberry's not going. Dick Allen, another White Sox player. There'll be one more. You probably know who that one more will be. Hint, knock on. Yeah, you figured it out. The next player, Alex Johnson got snubbed. It's a shame. He always leads the Angels in hitting with his 370 card, but no homers and 10 RBI. That's not going to cut it. I had the other Twin in here. The Twins are in first, so I had to get, I had Carew. I had to get the next great left-handed hitter on the team, which is Tony Oliva, of course. Tony Oliva's going to the All-Star game. No Killebrew. Killebrew didn't do enough, but Oliva is going. And Oliva, where do we have him at? I think he's at utility because Bill Robinson. You have outfield, 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 outfield. We have a DH here. Running out of spots. He's going to get one of these spots here. We got Reggie, Tovar. Let's see, Robinson. We have Oliva listed as the DH or utility DH. Here. Let's see. Oh, I guess we could take, and that's going to be another guy. I don't know where we're going to stick him at. It could, no, that's going to be Paul Shaw there. So let's see where we are sticking. I don't know where we're sticking him at. Let's stick him over here for now. I'll figure this out. He's on the team. They have a glut of outfielders. And frankly, like I've been talking about, the American League is the little sister to the National League this year. So it makes sense that they have a unbalanced all-star team as well. All right. Now we have a bunch of snubs here. But here's a nice little third baseman for you. Kansas City Royals had a disappointing year. But they have one representative. The only guy hitting well, 303, is Paul Shaw. He also has a nice on-base percentage. He's your American League third baseman replacing Killebrew, who had a disappointing start. Paul Shaw, the precursor to, of course, George Brett. Shaw is going to the All-Star game. Congratulations, Paul Shaw. All right, next up, the American League. Let's see here. Hegan gets skipped. Buddy Bell. George Scott almost made it because he could play first and third, had a nice year. We have a lot of skips here until we get your starting catcher, Carlton Fisk. Numbers down a little bit from a year ago, but Boston's in first place, so Fisk goes to the All-Star game. Munson was the starting catcher. Fisk was the backup. Fisk will now be the starter. Then there'll be a surprise backup that'll shock everybody. Someone you'll never imagine will be going to the All-Star game as a catcher. Carlton Fisk, congratulations, Fisk. All right. Next up here, a bunch of guys who get skipped. Let's see if I can find the next hitter here. There's, I believe, it's just one more hitter. We have 15 of the 16. We can count the yellow spots just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have two more. Let's see here. Tover, Retman, Reggie, Shaw, Allen, Carew, Oliva, Aparicio, Cash, Bill Robinson, Frank Robinson, Jim Northrup, Bobby Mercer, and Fisk. It's going to be the backup catcher, and there's two players, yeah. We have to go Rico Petrocelli. Sorry, I forgot about him. Rico's having an okay year. Let's go find him. But Rico Petrocelli had that 69 card in the All-Star game for a couple of years in a row. And his 70 card is just a slight step down to 29 homers and 40. He's not a two-hit short anymore either. But he still has a nice, here he is. He still has a nice year. It's 262, but he does have 5 homer and 20 RBI. It's nothing gaudy. And basically they needed a third baseman. He basically takes Yastrzemski's spot, which is a shame since Yastrzemski's got a better card. But we need the position. So Petrocelli's going to the All-Star game. So let's see where he's going. Fisk, Allen, Carew, Shaw, Aparicio, Robinson, Mercer, Northrop, Remick, Fisk. He's taking Nettle's spot. There you go. All right, and the last hitter in the American League to go, and here's the shocker. The shocker of all shockers. You need a backup catcher. Last year, there was a ton of great catchers in the American League. There was Tennis, there was Fossey, there was John Ellis, and there was Thurman Munson and Fisk. This year, not so much. So you have to go all the way down to a part-time player. Believe it or not. You're not going to believe it, I'm telling you. But here he is, folks. Seattle Mariners took journeyman catcher from the Detroit Tigers, Jim Price. Only 54 at-bats, but he made the most of them. 5 homers, 17 RBIs, beat the Oakland A's in an extra inning game, which was on YouTube. 315 batting average. Here is Cinderella, folks. Jim Price will be the backup catcher in the All-Star game. That's pretty special there. So we'll take Alex Johnson. Oliva will go in that spot. There you go. And that solves that. So there's your American League hitters. Now let's go to the pitchers. We'll go right down to the pitching staff here in the American League. Of course, Detroit's Mickey Lolich lead the American League in ERA with a 5-1 record. He's going to the All-Star game. Mickey Lolich has been to a couple, I believe. Let's scroll down to the pitchers. There's usually a Tiger pitcher that goes every year. It used to be Denny McLain. Then it was Joe Coleman. Well, now it's Mickey Lolich. Mickey Lolich. Boy, he's got quite a postseason resume. Beat Bill Singer in a Game 7 between the Tigers and the Dodgers in one of my World Series. Of course, his Tigers lost to the Mets last year in the World Series. So, Mickey Lolich. All right. Next pitcher for the American League, Pete Broberg. Honorable mention. 51 innings, 5-0, 212. Identical to Lolich, but he's a number 3 starter, and the Rangers have had a bad year. So that's a nice snub there, and a disappointing snub. Pete Broberg did well, as did Doc Ellis. You saw all those great hitters, the high players. We couldn't, afford anymore. Again, number 3 starters just don't get the affection they should. Most of the starters are number 1s or 2s. But Doc Ellis and Pete Broberg did exceptional jobs. We go back to Catfish Hunter, who should be a 1, but he's a number 2 behind Vida Blue. Catfish Hunter's going back to the All-Star game that he started a year ago. There he is. He was 6-2 with a $178 last year. He's 6-2, 223 this year. Pretty consistent. Catfish Hunter going back to the All-Star game for the American League. Clyde Wright had a nice ERA, not much of a 1-loss record. Doyle Alexander for Toronto. They only had 1 representative, but the reliever they have is better. Here's your guy with 88 gaudy innings pitched. There's nobody over 8. Oh, Gaylord Perry's got 80. But Wilbur Wood pitches into extra innings. He's pitched in the last few years an 18-inning and a 14-inning game. He's going to the All-Star game, folks. I know he's 5-4. 256 ERA in 88 innings, though. It's very impressive with these rosters. So Wilbur Wood, the 3rd White Sox player to lead the American League in players. He'll take Burpee Humble 11 spot. How about that? Wilbur freaking Wood deserves to go for the American League. All right. The next pitcher for the American League, Mel Stottlemyre. Nice year, but Yankees stunk up the joint, so you're not going. Gaylord Perry got snubbed with 80 innings and a 6-3 record. And the guy who took his, well, didn't really take his spot, but just 1 more games, Jim Palmer. It's a shame the ERA is above 3 because the dude is 8-0. Plus 8. Nobody's got 7 wins. This dude's got 8. Jim Palmer. Best 1-loss record in the entire Strat-O-Matic League. Of course he's going to go. He'll probably be the starter. We haven't named the starters yet. He'll take Bill Singer's spot. Bill Singer's not going. Congratulations, Jim Palmer, Baltimore Orioles. One of 2 pitchers to go. All right. We got Palmer, Nolich, and Hunter and Wood. And believe it or not, we're going to go all to the bullpen now because the bullpen's been tearing it up in the American League. We're going to go scroll down a little bit. And Joe Grisenda, he went to the All-Star game last year representing the Toronto Blue Jays, and that weighs heavily on the voters' mind. He's coming back a year later. 19 innings, 8 saves, a .189 ERA, and helped the Blue Jays upset the Red Sox for the All-Star break. There he is last year with 7 saves and a gaudy .511 ERA, so he's improved. Go to the All-Star game, and then a year later, you're better. You should go back, and Grisenda does. Congratulations, the Toronto Blue Jay representative, Joe Grisenda. You're probably wondering, is Steve Mangori coming back to the All-Star game for Cleveland Indians? The answer is, yeah, he is. There he is. Steve Mangori, 7 saves, .169 ERA. He's coming back for another spot in the All-Star game. 2 crafty left-handers to help the American League in the late innings. There he goes. We got 3 more pitchers to give spots to. Yep, 3 more pitchers to award spots to. Let's go right away to Baltimore's closer, because he's doing has a really great line. Let's see if I can find it here. He's got a ton of innings pitched too, which is what I like. There, he's right behind. There he is. So, 0.95 ERA will get you in the All-Star game most years. Plus 19 innings pitched. This is sorted by innings pitched, and here you see your number 3 and 4 starters. And once we run into that, we get to relief pitchers. And Grant Jackson's the 3rd number of innings pitched by reliever. Ellsworth, look at that, 21 of the 3rd innings there. And Hennigan and Grisenda, the 3-man bullpen of the Blue Jays. No wonder they're so good, or they've overachieved. Let's get Grant Jackson into the All-Star game as Baltimore's 2nd representative. A great pitching staff and lousy hitting, it makes sense. He can take Lou Marone's spot since Lou Marone retired. No more Lou Marone All-Star nons. We got 2 spots left, and we need 2 right-handed pitchers. And as it works out, 2 teams have not been represented yet, the Expos and the Brewers, and they are the last 2 representatives. I just got to find them. Oh boy. Let's see. Mike Marshall is one of them. There's Mike, because he's got 6 saves, and look folks, he is goose egg. 13 2/3 shutout innings from Mike Manor Martian. He's going to the All-Star game as kind of a long man starting pitcher. He's almost like a starting pitcher. Dude threw 200 innings in 74. There's Mike Marshall. And your closer, he didn't go last year, but he has been to All-Star games in the past. Ken Sanders, arguably the Milwaukee Brewers' best player for 3 years in a row. 66-cent ERA and 7 saves for a really bad Milwaukee team. He is your final representative. He'll take Mo Drabowski's spot. And there you have it, folks. There is your American League team. We'll go through the stats at the end of the video. We'll take a quick break, and we will begin the National League. Stay tuned. Welcome back, baseball fans. We are in the National League now to announce the National League All-Stars. We're going to start with just like the American League, the National League has one guy hitting 400. It is Wes Parker. He's been to a couple All-Star games with either a 69 or 70 card, which is pretty cool for Wes. He's, getting near the end here. Eventually, Garvey or Buckner will replace him at first base. Wes was on the All-Star squad last year with a .312 average, but he had 5 home runs. A bizarre year later, he's hitting 100 points better with just 1 homer. But again, 418 is 418. That'll get you in the All-Star game most of the time. Congratulations, Wes Parker. Now, Maury Wills, yes. He had 83 at-bats, but mostly it was because he batted 9th for an Atlanta team, because they were just so loaded with hitters. So yeah, your .398 hitter bats 9th. Oh, and by the way, spoiler alert, his double play partner, Felix Millan, Played second base and hit 388. I can't figure out Atlanta, man. They could have ran the table, but they didn't. Anyway, Maury Wills, yeah, traded to Atlanta in the offseason. Was with the Dodgers, and he played for the Angels in the carryover league. He's actually going to serve as a take Becker's spot for now. Becker's not going. We'll give it to Maury Wills. All right, next player. Easy Ed Herman, catcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, 389, 9/22. Really cool card. The 210 card with homers on 10, 9, and 8. I always love that card. Yeah, Easy Ed Herman. Let's see where he goes. Well, this spot is reserved, of course. He goes, well, his catching platoon member last year, Larry Howard, went. This year he goes. Larry Howard was traded to the American League last year. So Ed Herman is in the All-Star game finally. The only member of the Arizona Diamondbacks to go. Next up for the National League, here he is. Felix putting me on. We put him on plenty of times this year. He had a nice year last year too and was snubbed because the Braves only had one guy going, and that guy was Phil Niekro, who's not going this year. But he's your starting second baseman. How about that? Felix putting me on for the Atlanta Braves in the All-Star game. Would you believe the Braves and the Mets tied for 3 players each going to the game? Okay. No surprise here. Tony Perez, 13 homer and 32 RBIs. Would you believe he doesn't lead the league in either of those categories? But he's probably near the top of the list for your MVP voting right now. He's either 1 or 2 or 3. Tony Perez, and he'll be playing the position he's been playing, third base, replacing Joe Torre, who fell down a little bit this year and does not get to go again. Tony Perez for the Cincinnati Reds going to the All-Star game at third base. And if you're wondering why it's third base, it's because Lee May isn't going to the All-Star game. He hit 365. Again, just too much talent on one team. Bill Russell's not going for the Dodgers either. Rico freaking Cardi at 366. Well, he's only hitting 364, so maybe he's in a slump. He's not going because Atlanta's got too many guys. George Thomas was knocked off the last second as well. Rennie Stennett went last year, not going this year. A lot of nice bats. See, this National League, I'm telling you, they've really got it over the American League. William Carlos Williams, Billy Williams and the Cubs is going to the All-Star game. That's a great story for Billy Williams. Monster 1970 card. Also has a Monster 1972 card. We got him starting somewhere, I think. Let's see. Let's give him Manny Moto spot. Manny's not going this year. Billy Williams and the Chicago Cubs, lone representative in the All-Star game. Next up, yep, the Padres, lone representative. They have to send somebody, and he's the top guy. And he's hitting 346 in his first year of eligibility. That's a nice year for LeRon Lee. LeRon Lee, I think he had 300 with that card, or 320 maybe. He's going, and we got him at the in Tommy Davis' spot here. Bad defensive player, good stick. Tommy Davis is replaced by LeRon Lee, and the Padres have a guy in the All-Star game, the only guy in the All-Star game for them. Next up, oh no, Bill Buckner does not go. Sorry, Bill. No home runs. Can't have that at a first base outfield guy. Cleon, of course, is going back to the All-Star game for the Mets. It's just been this 2-year parade and of accolades and you know, wonderfulness for the Mets and kind of thing. He goes back to the All-Star game. He was the right fielder last year. We'll see. He hit 349 at the break, 312 and 2. This year, it's 339, 524 and 2. So yeah, that's why Cleon will go back. You win a World Series and do the same thing, and you're got the best record in baseball. You're probably going back to the All-Star game. Congratulations, Leon Jones. Nice year for Hal McRae, and no, he could not take Manny Mota's spot. He just has no defense. Good year for McRae, though. Some nice players here, really nice players. Robertson, Baker is a Brave. Again, Braves. And again, Pete Rose, I mean, yeah, but, you know, 2-17 is not good enough. Would you believe Johnny Bench has got a better batting average this year than last year? Johnny Bench, of course. He was the MVP last year. And his power numbers are down a little bit. 312, 14, 46. This year it is 327, 8, and 28. But that's all right. It's Johnny Bench. And he is on that MVP list. In the top 5 to 10 somewhere. Congratulations, Johnny Bench. Just pencil this in. You might as well protect this row so you can't copy anything on it. He's just the National League starting catcher. All right, here's a great story. Johnny Callison. Nice range and a cannon arm. And the Phillies mistakenly went into the season with no center fielder. So Johnny Callison was a right fielder, and they said, Johnny, can you move her to center field? And he's like, well, I don't have as much range, but I'll do it. So he mans center field for the Phillies, and they are one of the worst teams in the National League, so their best player is him. So he goes to the All-Star game, and he is also going to center field. How about that, taking Bobby Tolan's spot? Johnny Callison, didn't see that coming. He is going to be in center field. How about that? Well, for 5 innings or half the game until he gets replaced by somebody, I guess. And next up for the National League, oh yeah, no-brainer here. And it's great to see in a change of cards, the magical 69 Willie McCovey card, the best card in the 69 card set, had to be removed, of course. And the 70 card is doing similar stuff. 327, 930. Let's see how close it comes. McCovey, there he is. 312, 1328 a year ago at this time. 327, 930. Come on. I mean, yeah. So, yeah. It's a slight step down in card, but he's Willie McCovey. He's tearing it up. He's the lone representative of the Giants, who've underachieved a little bit this year. Okay. Next up on the list, no Manny Sanguian. No, Art Shamsky. Bud Harrelson. Oh, my goodness. That is a snub. That is a horrible snub. And the problem with the Bud Harrelson snub is that Portland needed a player in the All-Star game, so Mark Belanger is the defensive shortstop of 2018, where Bud... The Mets sent 3 guys already. Gosh, is there a way we can get him in this thing? Let me think about this. No, you got Maury Wills hitting 389. Belanger's Portland lone representative. Gosh, that's disappointing. That is disappointing. Bud Harrelson, what do you... I mean, he hit 319? Are you kidding me? And look at his teammate. Did the exact same thing. 113 at-bats, 319. He's not going. Willie Mays. You know who is going? It's this guy, Joe Morgan. 13 stolen bases. He's sort of like a little bit of Harrelson, a little bit of Willie Mays there, you know. He's got the stolen bases, the power, and he's Joe freaking Morgan. And I don't know how much longer he'll be an Astro, and they certainly want to get him into an All-Star game in their uniform. He's the lone representative of the Astros because Cedeno and Cruz and Jimmy Wynn had a disappointing year. So Morgan is in here somewhere. Let's give him Cedeno's spot for the moment, since they're both Astros, and Cedeno's not going. All right, the next representative, Manny Mota. No, he's not going. Or is Brock Davis. Coggins was on the team for a moment, and then he was replaced by Mark Belanger. A-Rod's not going. That would have been a nice third baseman to have on the team from Vegas. Got some nice players here, but we have the nicest player here, the leading vote getter for the All-Star game, either league. Hammerin' Hank Aaron, of course, his 1971 card. Runner-up along with Stargell to Joe Torre for the most valuable player in the league. Yeah. And Aaron was in the game last year. Or was he not? No, he wasn't in the game last year. Look at that. He's in it this year. And he'll be starting in the outfield. Alea and Cleon are going again. So we'll just stick him here and have their spot for the moment. But Hank will most likely be a starter, of course. Look at that. 18 homer and 37 RBI. More than Bench. Bench had 14 last year. Dick Allen had 15 last year nationally. By the way, Dick Allen is going this year for the White Sox. So that was one of the things I noticed. He's the only player to switch leagues. So, yeah. Hammer and Hank Aaron in the All-Star game, of course. Let's see here. We have 1, 2, 3 more hitters to go. No Ron Hansen this year. He was a shortstop who went a few years ago. We skipped Luzinski because we like Johnny Callison for Philadelphia because he could play center field. Some nice names here. Lou Brock goes to the All-Star game because of the stolen bases. That's what we liked. We wanted to kind of get some variety. And in a league that is kind of down on stolen bases, Brock would lead the National League. He goes to the All-Star game. Let's see. He can take, let's see, here's Aaron, Morgan, Williams. Let's just put him here for the moment. And we'll sort this all out later. Lou Brock is in the All-Star game. Congratulations, Lou Brock, one of 2 Cardinals to go. Okay. 2 more hitters to go for the National League. And there's the one guy, Mark Belanger. Yeah, it's 279. It's, it's not as good as Bud Harrelson, but both guys can steal some bases. Both guys are 1, so very similar players. But Portland needs a representative, and the Mets already have 3. It's just a numbers game. That same kind of numbers game is what got Tommy A.G. Off the Mets and onto Toronto, because the Mets had too many stars. They couldn't keep them all. So in this case, Belanger goes to the All-Star game. Let's see. He's got to come in here somewhere. I guess we'll sit him here for the moment. And then we have 1 more player to go. And that would be our Colorado Rocky representative, Brant Alea. And there's Brant. A YouTube star. 11 homer, 31 RBI. So he's definitely deserving of going. And he's been gone the last few years. And there he is, same spot. So we'll move some guys around. Brock will be, the shortstop will be, we got Maury Wills and Belanger who can play short. And Brock will go into one of the reserve outfield spots. We'll get this all straightened out, folks. Don't worry about it. We'll have a fun All-Star game. It'll be great. Now it's time for the 9 pitchers to represent the National League, and I got a little spoiler alert for you. Look at some guys from last year. Messersmith, Niekro, Roberts, Marichal, Master, Maloney, Clay Carroll, Tug McGraw, Hoyt Wilhelm last year. What if I told you the National League was going with a brand new pitching staff? That's right. None of these guys are going to the All-Star game. They got 9 replacements. Wow. And the 9 guys are household names anyway. It's just that they're 9 different guys that you'll see. It all makes sense. 9 pitchers for the National League. Beginning at the top, and the biggest story, I think, in the National League, at least early in this season, is that Don Sutton was the best pitcher in all of this. And the move to improve him and cost the Dodgers a draft pick seemed curious at the time, but when you look at the results, it all makes sense. He'll take Messersmith's spot, as Messersmith is snubbed. Congratulations, Don Sutton. One of 3 Dodgers to go to the All-Star game. All right. Bob Gibson, yes, thank you. He's going to the All-Star game, folks. He threw a no-hitter this year. It's been on YouTube. You can look it up. It's the Cardinals-Astros game, played in May in the playlist somewhere. If you want to watch a no-hitter, tune into that game. Bob Gibson, it was a big deal. So glad to see him have some success. I've struggled with getting Gibson to win enough games. He's done it. He'll take Necro's spot. Necro's not going this year. All right. Next guy up is Woodrow Fry, man, from the Las Vegas squad. The first place Las Vegas squad for the second year in a row. Interesting. Their lone representative is, you know, they are looked down upon because they play in the expansion division. Well, as a left-hander, he'll take the Dave Roberts Padre spot, who was the lone Padre last year, replaced by LaRon Lee as the lone Padre this year. Woodrow Fryman in the 3 spot for the National League. Next up, Messersmith got ignored. Jon Matlack. First of all, he deserves a special award for helping the Mets win the World Series a year ago. It really was Matlack out-pitching Tom Seaver down the stretch last year and helping the Mets win the World Series along with Tug McGraw. He deserves a lot of credit for that, and now he's going to the All-Star game a year later. Jon Matlack, the first of 2 Met pitchers to go. Let's stick him into the lefty Daniel Master spot here. Jon Matlack. Congratulations, Jon Matlack. We got 5 more to go. Oh yeah, nice ones too. We got 1 more starter and 4 relievers. Well, this is really no surprise, folks. Gary Peters gets ignored with a 5-0 record, a nice ERA. George Stone as well, 5-0. But we got to go down a little bit and find Tom Seaver here. ERA's high. He had 1 really weird start where he got knocked around, and then they left him in when the Mets were beating somebody 8-0. You know, the funny part about the Met pitching ERA, it's up a little bit because they're scoring so many damn runs that they're leaving their starting pitchers in there, and it's not a big deal because they're scoring so much. So that's bizarre. But Tom Seaver is in the All-Star game this year. The 6-2 record. And he's got big shoes to fill. He doesn't mind filling them. It's Juan Marichal, who was 6-2, 334 last year. So Seaver, 6-2, 362 this year. So there's your starting 5 pitchers for the National League. Let's get into the bullpen. We got a couple lefties, a couple righties. All right, let's scroll down to the bullpen. I like to give a bullpen spot to a guy who pitches a lot of innings, doesn't necessarily get a lot of saves. When you look at the number 4 starters, innings pitched, literally the next guy is the All-Star, Dave Justy. That's a reliever with 19 innings, not a starter. 3 wins, 5 saves, and a .189 ERA for a very, very, very disappointing Pittsburgh team. No Clemente, no Sanguilla, no Stargell, no Rennie Stennett, no Richie Hebner. They're not going to the All-Star game. They've stunk up the joint this year. Justy has been a revelation in the Pirate pen. As a righty, he will replace Clay Carroll. And by the way, Clay Carroll, again, didn't give up any runs. Doesn't get to go to the All-Star game because he's only pitched 9 innings this year. Because the Reds just don't really need him to close games because the Reds are beating the crap out of everybody. So Justy is the lone Pirate All-Star. Wow. Didn't see that coming in the spring. All right, next guy. We have another representative for the Colorado Rockies. Mel Queen, a closer. How about that? Just never thought. Yeah, Mel Queen. Nice card for this guy. And this would have been originally for the Major League Baseball's California Angels. And Colorado selected him because the Angels had a ton of great relievers. And he had 9 saves and a .255 ERA. Mel Queen, he'll take Hoyt Wilhelm's spot. All right, we got 2 more pitchers to go. We need a Florida Marlin representative, I believe. We don't have anybody from the Marlins. And here he is, folks. Tom Bergmeyer, brings a 1.08 ERA into the All-Star game with just 3 saves because Florida's been kind of meh and really had no clear cut. He basically replaced Hal McRae and Manny Mota as the representative for the Florida Marlins. Lefty setup guy, one of 2 lefties. He'll take Jim Maloney's spot. And our final pitcher in the All-Star game, and this is no surprise. If you saw the first pitcher was Don Sutton, it would be no surprise the beginning of the Dodger pitching staff. We would then go to the end of the Dodger pitching staff and find Jim Brewer with a 71-cent ERA. I'm surprised it's not 0. I really am. He actually had a 1.26 ERA, so it is an improvement. He probably only has 5 saves because the Dodgers are blowing teams out and they don't need him to get saves. But Jim Brewer was also improved, so it cost the Dodgers a draft pick. Both Sutton and Brewer did. But the Dodgers have shown if you improve guys and they're studs, it makes up for the scrub backups you have. And Sutton and Brewer have been absolutely lights out, which is why the Dodgers are in first place. That is your starting teams for the American and National League. Take a quick comparison of the 2 squads. Total at-bats, 1801, 1733, reasonably close. Batting average, National League 8 points better. Look at the home runs, though. National League has 20 more home runs and 60 more RBI and 8 more stolen bases and fewer hits because you got fewer at-bats, yeah. The pitching, 368 innings. Thank Wilbur Wood for that. National League went for the extra starters. They have 402 innings. American League 28-12. National League 32. 4 more wins. American League went with bullpen. 33 saves. National League went with starting pitching. 220 ERA. National League 230 because it's been more offense. I expect the National League to win the All-Star game. It is being played in Cincinnati, which is who hosted the 1970 All-Star game. So the Cincinnati Reds will be out in full force rooting for Johnny Bench and Tony Perez. They're All-Stars to get a World Series ring this year. There you go. That's your All-Star Game selection show. We'll have that on All-Star Major League Baseball Tuesday. Thanks for checking it all out. We'll see you next time.